Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. This is Tara and Jorge Garcia
Hi guys.
with Tara's Tuesday Talk. And we just wanted to continue with a topic that we kind of rolled into during the last Tuesday Talk about best care for kids. Being intentional where you're serving or supporting, that you're making sure that they're doing best practices in their care for children. So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So, so one practical thing that you can do to ensure that the funds that you're sending, your hard-earned funds that are going to an organization that's doing things right, is there's some certifications like GuideStar or ECFA that ensure that the accounting practices at least are legal and are correct and are the best.
Sure.
Hmm.
And you'll see on the websites there's usually like a seal for those,
Yeah.
right? And they're quite difficult to get, especially ECFA. So you can be ensured that that's just a level. That's a level of accountability you can ensure that the organization you're supporting has. And I'm sure there's a couple other certification
Yeah.
people out there. So yeah, that's a great suggestion. Very practical. Another practical tool I guess we could provide for you guys, if you're not serving with Identity Mission per se, when you're going on mission trips or things like that, there is a really great resource that ACCI, which is an organization in Australia, has provided for mission groups. Because a lot of times when we think of serving, filling needs, supporting, we think of going and serving hands on the mission field. And so they put out this really great tool for you to it literally has a checklist and all kinds of resources inside for you to make sure not only are you supporting an organization that is serving children best in best practices, but also you're bringing on the team with you. It has a really great member application. You're bringing people on your team with you that are going to serve best where you're going. So that if you're thinking mission trips, that's also a really good tool. I'll put the link in the body of this somewhere in the comments or in the blog or whatnot, and feel free to contact us if you're looking for other resources and things like that. So for mission trips, we're happy to provide that. We've researched, changed our model, tweaked our model, and really desire with all of our heart to make sure those coming to serve with us are not hurting the very people they're trying to serve well.
Right. There's so many different aspects to it, because even if the financial part is correctly and it's legal and there's no corruption and everyone's heart is on the right place, you really need to investigate, because even when you're not trying to hurt you, you can do it. And there's a
Yeah.
couple of stories that we know
Yeah.
about. There's a lot of stories.
Right.
We just want to mention a couple today.
Yeah, kind of trying to give you a picture because sometimes it's super surface, I know, and easy to grasp, and sometimes takes a lot more digging to make sure you're supporting the community well that you're going to serve. I know one example, just real quickly. I know a really good personal one, and then I know a quick one that I don't have all the details, but I think it'll still serve the purpose for today. Is I heard a story once in a seminar of a community in Africa where one of the top jobs for women was making clothes, making blankets, things like that. And when mission groups started to come over from the western part of the world, they would bring suitcases of free clothes, free blankets, out of a great heart, wanting to make sure they had the ability to give. And so when they did that and provided all these clothes for this community, it actually took the jobs away from these women that made the clothes for the community. Therefore, they couldn't support their families, couldn't feed their families. And so a huge catastrophe, but obviously started with a kind heart. So that's just a simple surface way to see oh goodness, let's make sure I talk to a local church or a local organization and what I'm bringing isn't going to actually cause
Thank you. I was going to
drastic
tell the
changes.
story, Tara.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you?
I was going to.
Well, then you
it's
want to tell the
okay.
second story.
There's many, right? I remember one, and I heard this at CAFO, one that this pastor has this youth group going on, and the youth were meeting, had been meeting for a long time, and then a mission team came, and they brought so many perks and toys and games and everything, and did it for a couple of weeks. And then after they left, the kids started coming back to the group, and they didn't like that the toys and everything that was brought in those 2 weeks by the mission team wasn't there anymore. So it eventually just dissolved the group and the effort that this pastor had been doing for a long time.
Because they couldn't live up to
Right.
the same standard
Exactly.
of, right. So there's just a lot of best practices that it'll take time to research and think about and dig deep. You can't just, give or just jump on a plane and come. And that's one of them, making sure you're doing things through the local church. And even as visitors, we shouldn't be handing anything out. We shouldn't be giving anything personally to another person on the ground when we go. We should be giving it all to either the organization or the local church and letting them disperse of it as they see fit, because we're causing issues when we just go and hand out things that we don't even realize we're doing. And we can dig deeper into that later. We're trying to keep this short, so if you want to talk more about this topic, if you're a youth pastor that leads a trip, or if you're an advocate for orphan care and you want to find the right organization to plug into locally or internationally, just contact us. We love to talk about this all day long, apparently. So just another quick one that kind of took us a couple years to figure out. When we first started working in orphan care in Honduras, we were serving in orphanages, Jorge and I, and we were starting to realize, when we didn't personally bring medical brigades, dental brigades, but a lot of brigades were coming, and so the children in the orphanages would see the medical brigades and be taken to the dental brigades. And so anyway, the dental brigades would just pull out molars because they knew, and I guess the orphanage staff knew, it wasn't going to happen where the kids had continual
And it's all they could do
medical
in the
treatment.
3 days.
Yeah,
or a week
all they could
that
do in the
were
3
there,
days. Yeah. To do fillings was very difficult. So if they had a troubled tooth, they would just pull it. So a lot of kids left the orphanages without their molars as adults or young adults. And so we talked about this issue a lot, and eventually we're able to connect to some local dentists who were thrilled to provide free dental care for children in care, continually, so that the kids could get the medical treatments that they needed to be able to take care of their teeth, and then obviously keep their teeth.
To have teeth later.
Later in life. And so this was like across the nation in hundreds of orphanages. And to this day, thankfully, we have local dentists connected to our programs that give our foster kids free dental hygiene.
Awesome.
So very, very deep, this one, because what do? You're a medical brigade that can come for a couple weeks. There are ways, obviously, that you can serve well. You just have to find those connections and have to figure it out and work with your locals. And so those are 2 quick stories, maybe to hopefully just get this thought spurring of best care for kids. This was a little missions based, but obviously the organization you desire to serve with long term, you need to make sure you're having these conversations with them. What do you have in place to make sure you're doing best care for kids? They should have a child protection policy. They should have how to report abuse. They should have all these policies in place and implementing them. And so there's just some really intentional things that can be done on your part to make sure you're supporting an organization that's going to have a long-term impact and isn't actually hurting the community that they're serving in. Because what you see is them helping one child, and that looks great, but you don't see the effect of that in their actual community
Right.
surrounding them all around. So any other last comments?
No.
We'd love to hear from you guys. Ask questions. Let us know.
Send us questions. Guys,
Yeah, send us
please.
questions. It lets us know that we're making sense, at least.
Right.
And if we're not making sense, let us know that too. But anyway, we're here. We're here for you. Just know that Identity Mission, we're always researching and investigating and praying for the Lord to show us where we can better practices in every area that we serve. And yeah, changing every day because of that. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for spending time with us. Have a good day.